probably thought you were doing your body a favor, reaching for that fresh, juicy fruit, thinking it's packed with vitamins, loaded with fiber, and the perfect choice for staying healthy, especially as you get older. But what if I told you that some of the most common fruits in your kitchen right now could actually be silently contributing to your leg pain, joint stiffness, and that uncomfortable swelling you feel when you stand up or walk too long? It sounds surprising, even a little hard to believe, right? We've been told for years, decades even, that fruit is one of the healthiest things you can eat. But the truth? Not all fruits are created equal, and for people over 60, certain fruits can do more harm than good. Your legs are your freedom. When they're strong, you feel like yourself, stable, confident, energized. But when they ache, when your knees throb, when your ankles feel swollen, or when your calves cramp up in the middle of the night, life becomes a whole lot harder. Walking across the room feels like a challenge. Standing at the stove feels like a marathon. And suddenly, even your daily routine feels like an uphill battle. That's why what you eat matters more now than ever before, especially the fruits that seem harmless, but quietly trigger inflammation, blood sugar spikes, and poor circulation in aging legs. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the 7 worst fruits for leg pain. Yes, even the ones labeled healthy, organic, and low sugar. These are the ones that might be slowing you down, making your knees stiff, your calves ache, or your feet feel heavy by the end of the day. But don't worry, I won't just leave you there. I'll also share the fruits you should eat instead, the ones that nourish your joints, support circulation, and reduce pain naturally. This isn't about fear, it's about facts. And it's about taking back control of your body as you age, starting with the foods on your plate. So grab a notepad or just sit back and listen closely, because the first fruit on our list, it's one you probably have in your fridge right now. It's tropical, juicy, and oh so sweet, but it's hiding something dangerous under that smooth yellow skin. Let's talk about bananas. Yep, you heard me right. Bananas. The fruit that's become a go-to snack for athletes, a common breakfast item for older adults, and a symbol of clean eating. But here's the deal. For aging bodies, especially over 60, bananas can wreak havoc on your legs. Why? 2 main reasons. First, their sugar content. While bananas aren't the sweetest fruit on the surface, they contain a type of sugar that hits your bloodstream fast, especially when the banana is ripe. That sugar causes a quick spike in insulin levels, followed by a crash. And when your insulin rises and drops like that, inflammation follows, especially in your joints. Ever notice your knees feel warm or swollen after breakfast? Or maybe your ankles get tight by mid-morning? That could be the banana talking. The second reason is potassium. Wait, potassium? Isn't that supposed to be good for you? Well, yes and no. See, potassium helps with muscle function, sure, but too much of it in one sitting, especially from a fruit like a ripe banana, can throw off your body's electrolyte balance, especially if your kidney function isn't as strong as it once was. That imbalance can lead to nighttime leg cramps, muscle weakness, and even fatigue when walking up the stairs. Now, this doesn't mean bananas are evil, but if you're over 60, dealing with regular leg pain or joint issues, and still eating bananas daily, or even a few times a week, especially before bed, you might be making things worse without realizing it. And it's not just bananas. The next fruit is even more problematic, and it hides behind a label that screams antioxidants and heart health. But for aging joints, it's a whole different story. I'm talking about grapes. Sweet, juicy, pop them in your mouth like candy grapes. Red ones, green ones, even the so-called organic ones. They taste amazing, they look innocent, but for people over 60, grapes can be downright destructive for your legs. Here's why. Sugar, and not just any sugar, fructose. Grapes are loaded with fructose, a sugar that not only raises blood sugar levels fast, but also promotes fat storage, slows circulation, and increases inflammation, especially around the knees, hips, and ankles. Let's pause here. I'll continue in part 2, right where we left off, with grapes and how they affect your legs, then move into the next worst fruit on the list. Stay with me. It gets even more eye-opening from here. So, back to grapes. They're so small, so easy to eat, you can knock out a whole bowl without even realizing it. But here's the problem. They pack a massive sugar punch in those tiny bites. That sugar, especially when it's fructose, doesn't just spike your blood sugar temporarily. It actually contributes to long-term inflammation in your blood vessels and joints. For aging adults, this means increased swelling in the ankles, more stiffness in the knees, and a heavy dragging feeling in your calves. Some people even report burning sensations in their feet after eating a handful of grapes regularly. It's subtle at first, but over time, it gets worse. And to make matters worse, grapes have almost zero fiber. That means there's nothing to slow down the sugar as it floods into your bloodstream. It's like injecting sweet inflammation directly into your legs. Sure, they've got antioxidants, but it's not enough to outweigh the damage they do to joints already struggling with reduced circulation. If you've been eating grapes thinking they're a guilt-free snack, especially during the afternoon or at night, you might be unknowingly feeding your leg pain. Now let's move to the third fruit on our list, and this one's going to hit hard. It's beautiful, it's hydrating, it's everywhere in summer, and it's considered the fruit of picnics and good health. I'm talking about watermelon. Yep, watermelon. The symbol of hot days, barbecues, and clean eating. But here's what most people don't realize. Watermelon is basically sugar water with a little color. Don't get me wrong, it tastes great, it feels refreshing, and yes, it does have some vitamins. But for people over 60, the high glycemic index of watermelon is a big red flag. Watermelon sugar is absorbed faster than nearly any other fruit sugar. That means a sharp insulin spike, and you know what that leads to: inflammation, especially in the soft tissues of your legs. That's your knees, your feet, your hips. Over time, you'll feel tighter in the joints, more swollen in the ankles, and slower when you get up from a chair. Ever felt like your legs are made of bricks after a light lunch with watermelon on the side? That's not your imagination. It's your body struggling to cope with the sugar hit. And for those who already have poor circulation, especially older adults with diabetes or prediabetes, watermelon can make things worse by triggering neuropathy flare-ups, tingling in the feet, numbness in the toes, or burning sensations that creep up your legs at night. The worst part? Because watermelon feels light, people tend to eat more of it. 2 slices turn into 4, 4 turns into half a melon, and suddenly you've dumped a bucket of sugar into your bloodstream without even realizing it. If you're over 60, even a small bowl of watermelon can cause your legs to swell by evening, especially if you're not very active or sitting a lot during the day. I know it's hard to believe something so fresh and hydrating could be harmful, but once you connect the dots, it all makes sense. Now let's move to fruit number 4. This one is tricky because it wears a disguise. It looks healthy. It feels exotic. It's often used in smoothies, salads, even frozen desserts. But it's a real threat to aging joints. I'm talking about pineapple. Pineapple is a double-edged sword. It contains bromelain, which some people believe helps with inflammation. But here's the truth. Pineapple is also extremely acidic and loaded with sugar. The acidity alone can irritate an aging gut lining, leading to poor digestion and more internal inflammation. That inflammation doesn't stay in your gut, though. It travels right to your joints, especially your knees and lower back. The sugar, just like watermelon and grapes, causes a rapid rise in blood glucose, followed by a crash. And for someone over 60 whose metabolism is already slowing down, that crash is worse. It creates energy dips, joint fatigue, and inflammation in your legs. Not to mention if you have any underlying nerve issues or sensitivity in your hips or thighs, pineapple can actually increase your discomfort. You may feel burning in your calves, tightness in your hamstrings, or stiffness when getting out of bed in the morning. Many seniors even feel a sort of buzzing or tingling in their feet hours after eating pineapple. It's that sugar-acid combo working against your system. Now we're just getting to the halfway point. The next fruit is one that's often praised for its immune-boosting power. But for aging legs, the truth is much darker. Stick with me. We'll dive into that in part 3. All right, let's get into the 5th fruit. The one people constantly turn to when they're sick, feeling low, or trying to boost immunity. We've heard it since childhood. Oranges are healthy. They're full of vitamin C. They're refreshing. They seem like the perfect fruit. But the truth is, for folks over 60 dealing with joint stiffness and leg pain, oranges can quietly be one of the worst choices. Why? It's a combination of acid and sugar. Again, the citric acid in oranges can be extremely harsh on aging stomachs. As we age, the protective lining of our gut gets thinner and weaker. That means acids, like the ones in oranges, can cause irritation, which leads to internal inflammation. And inflammation, as we've seen again and again, spreads. It ends up in the joints. For many older adults, this means aching thighs, sore knees, and stiff ankles, especially in the morning or after walking short distances. The sugar in oranges is another issue. Even though it's natural, it still spikes your blood sugar quickly, especially when consumed as juice or on an empty stomach. That spike is followed by an insulin surge, and when that happens over and over again, it starts a cycle that your legs feel the most. That's when you start noticing things like tight calves when you wake up, a burning feeling in your heels at night, or fatigue when climbing stairs. If you've ever eaten an orange and then noticed a tingling feeling in your knees later that evening, that's no coincidence. Here's the sneaky part. Oranges feel healthy. They're associated with wellness. So when leg pain strikes, most people don't think of the fruit they had with breakfast. They blame their shoes, their mattress, or their age. But in reality, that morning orange might be part of the problem. And let's not even start on orange juice. That's like drinking a glass of sugar with a splash of acid. For older bodies already struggling to stabilize blood sugar and keep inflammation down, that's a painful combination. Let's move to number 6 now. This one might surprise you even more, because it's the kind of fruit that looks like the safer option. It's not too sweet, it's green, it's crisp, it feels healthy. We're talking about green apples. Green apples are often thought to be the cleanest fruit choice. Less sugar, more fiber, organic feel. But here's the truth, they're secretly hard on aging joints and poor circulation. Not because of pesticides or anything artificial, it's the natural components that are doing the damage. The biggest culprit is malic acid. That's the compound that gives green apples their tart flavor. And while younger digestive systems can break it down easily, older guts have a harder time processing it. That malic acid becomes irritating, not just to your stomach lining, but to your tissues. When it seeps into your bloodstream, it contributes to inflammation around joints, especially in the lower body. We've had people report serious stiffness in the hips, throbbing in the thighs, and even a low-level heat in the soles of their feet after eating green apples regularly. Another thing to consider, even though green apples taste less sweet than red ones, they still contain a surprising amount of natural sugar. That sugar creates small but frequent spikes in blood sugar, which for a slower metabolism leads to bigger crashes. And what happens when your blood sugar dips after a spike? Your body responds with fatigue, inflammation, and often muscle tightness. Your calves feel tight. Your knees ache when you bend them. You feel tired walking up a few steps. It's not just aging, it's what your body's dealing with after trying to process those sugars and acids. Now here's the kicker. Green apples are often eaten raw and on the go. People snack on them during the day, or eat one at night thinking they're making a healthy choice. But instead, they're triggering slow-building discomfort. It might not hit right away, but if you've been eating green apples regularly and you've noticed more stiffness, especially at night or early morning, you may want to reconsider. So let's recap where we are. We've talked about grapes, watermelon, pineapple, oranges, and now green apples. That's 6 fruits. You're probably wondering, if these are the ones causing the pain, what's the last one? What's the 7th? You're about to find out. And this one is perhaps the most deceptive of all. It's tropical, delicious, and feels like a natural treat, but it's loaded with danger for aging joints. We'll get into that in part 4. All right, now we're here. The 7th fruit. And this one, oh man, this one is so loved, especially in the summertime. It's the kind of fruit people dream about when it's hot outside, when they want something juicy, sweet, and refreshing. But if you're over 60 and dealing with leg cramps, weak knees, or swollen ankles, this fruit could be the biggest sugar bomb of all. Let's talk about mangoes. That's right, mango, the tropical sweetheart, is actually one of the worst offenders when it comes to joint inflammation and circulation problems. Now, I know what you're thinking, but it's just fruit and it's natural. Yes, it is natural, but just because something is natural doesn't mean it's harmless. Mangoes are loaded with fructose, a natural sugar, yes, but it's extremely concentrated. Eating a single mango can hit your body like a dessert. The sugar spike is real, and if you're not 25 and running marathons, your body struggles to handle that sugar load. For most older adults, this leads to an insulin roller coaster. Up, down, which your joints and nerves pay the price for. What kind of symptoms are we talking about? For starters, burning sensations in the toes, tingling in the soles of your feet that won't go away, swelling around your ankles at night, that feeling like your legs are made of cement blocks when you try to get out of bed. These are classic signs of poor circulation and nerve stress, both of which are made worse by frequent blood sugar spikes. And mangoes? They deliver those spikes in spades. Another thing about mangoes, they don't feel heavy. You don't feel full or bloated after eating one, so people tend to eat them in large portions. Maybe a big bowl, or even 2 mangoes at once, especially if they're cut up and chilled in the fridge. But your body doesn't care how it feels going in. All it knows is sugar, sugar, sugar. And what happens when sugar floods your system? Inflammation sets in. First in your soft tissues, then in your muscles, and eventually it locks up your joints. This is especially problematic for people with existing nerve issues. If you've been diagnosed with neuropathy, sciatica, or even prediabetes, mangoes are like throwing gasoline on the fire. The sugar overload irritates your nerve endings, and the result? A stabbing pain in your heels, a hot pulse in your calves, or a dull ache that crawls up your thighs every time you sit too long. It's not just annoying, it's debilitating. And most people never think to blame the sweet, juicy mango. Now here's what makes it tricky. Mangoes taste healthy. They feel fresh, they're colorful, packed with vitamin C, and they're not processed. But remember, the body doesn't respond to fresh, it responds to content, sugar content, acid content, and how those things affect inflammation and circulation. For someone in their 20s or 30s, no problem. Their metabolism can burn through it quickly. But for someone over 60, especially with slowed circulation, weak joints, or hormonal changes, mangoes become more of a burden than a blessing. So there it is, 7 fruits, 7 natural foods that are secretly working against your legs, your knees, your hips, and your ability to move freely. Grapes, watermelon, pineapple, oranges, green apples, mangoes, and one more we'll recap later. But don't worry, this isn't about giving up fruit altogether. The truth is, there are fruits out there that help your joints, that improve your circulation, that support your movement instead of sabotaging it. And that's where we're going next. Now that you know what to avoid, let's flip the script. Let's talk about the fruits you should be eating. The ones that fight inflammation, stabilize your blood sugar, improve blood flow, and reduce those stabbing, burning, or cramping sensations. Because food should heal you, not hurt you. And the right fruits, they can actually make your legs feel lighter, your joints less stiff, and your mornings a whole lot more mobile. So let's dive into the alternatives that actually help you heal from the inside out. All right, now that we've called out the 7 worst fruits for aging joints and fragile circulation, it's time for some good news. Because here's the truth, fruit isn't the enemy. Not at all. The problem isn't fruit itself, it's picking the wrong fruit at the wrong age. After 60, your body changes, and you've gotta adjust your choices. So instead of sugar bombs and acid overloads, let's talk about the fruits that actually support your body. Fruits that make walking easier, swelling go down, and stiffness melt away. First up, berries. All kinds of berries. We're talking blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, strawberries. These are some of the best fruits you can eat as you age. Why? They're low in sugar, high in fiber, and absolutely loaded with antioxidants. These little guys fight inflammation like warriors. They help repair blood vessels, calm irritated tissues, and even improve nerve function. And because they're low on the glycemic index, they don't spike your blood sugar the way tropical fruits do. That means no sudden crashes, no swelling ankles, and no leg heaviness after you snack. Plus, berries support your circulation. That's huge. Good circulation means more oxygen and nutrients getting to your muscles and joints, which equals less pain, less stiffness, and more freedom to move. They also contain anthocyanins, a fancy word for the compound that gives them that deep purple or red color. And that compound specifically helps protect the walls of your blood vessels, keeping everything flowing smoothly. So whether you eat them fresh, frozen, or blended into a smoothie, berries are a must-have. Now let's talk cherries, but wait, cherries are sweet, right? Yes, they are, but they're also one of the few fruits that actually reduce uric acid in the body. That's a big deal, especially if you suffer from gout or flare-ups in your knees, ankles, or toes. Just a small handful of cherries can help lower inflammation levels and calm those aching joints. The key is moderation. You don't want to overdo it. A few cherries, maybe 5 to 10, is enough to get the benefits without tipping into sugar territory. And ideally go for tart cherries. They're the most powerful anti-inflammatory version. Next up, avocados. And yes, avocados are a fruit, even though they're not sweet. And honestly, they might be the best fruit you can eat for joint health. Why? Healthy fats. Avocados are packed with omega-3 fatty acids, and those fats help cushion your joints, reduce internal inflammation, and improve flexibility. They also help regulate insulin and stabilize your energy throughout the day. So instead of crashing mid-afternoon or waking up stiff, your body runs smoother, more balanced. Add some slices to your breakfast, mash it on toast, or scoop it right from the skin. Your joints will thank you. Let's keep going. Papaya. This tropical fruit is like a spa treatment for your digestive system and your joints. It's soft, easy to chew, and full of enzymes, especially papain, that help reduce inflammation and make digestion easier. That's a big plus, especially as digestion tends to slow with age. And when your gut is functioning well, your whole body feels lighter. Less gas, less bloating, and more room for your body to focus on healing and restoring sore areas. Papaya is gentle, soothing, and ideal for people with sensitive stomachs or chronic stiffness. Another great one, pears. Yes, good old pears. They're juicy, slightly sweet, but not too sugary. They're also high in fiber, especially when you eat the skin. And that fiber helps keep your digestion steady and your blood sugar stable. No highs, no crashes, just smooth energy. The key here is pairing. If you eat a pear with a small piece of cheese or a few nuts, you create a perfect balance. Your body gets a little sweetness, a little protein, and a lot of support without the downsides. Pears are simple, but they're powerful when it comes to preventing pain and reducing leg fatigue. So here's the message. You're not giving up fruit. You're just upgrading. You're choosing fruits that work with your body, not against it. Fruits that help you walk stronger, stand taller, and sleep better. Because food is more than flavor. It's information. It tells your body what to do. And the fruits we just covered, they tell your body to reduce inflammation, ease discomfort, and boost circulation. That's what we want. Now let's wrap it all up and bring you a final message. A message of hope and strength just for you. Let's just zoom out for a second. We've just talked about which fruits to avoid and which ones to lean into. But now let's get to the why behind it all. Because once you understand what's really going on inside your body, those choices become a lot easier to make. Here's the truth. Your legs, your joints, your feet, they're not just getting older. They're responding to what you feed them. Your body is talking to you through swelling, cramps, stiffness, weakness. That pain in your hips after dinner, the tightness in your calves at night, the sore feet when you wake up, that's your body saying, hey, something's not working here. And the most powerful thing you can do right now isn't a new pill or a fancy supplement or another round of tests. It's in your kitchen. It's what you eat. Because food is fuel, food is medicine, and food is either pushing you toward pain or pulling you away from it. The good fruits we just listed, berries, cherries, avocado, papaya, pears, they pull you away from inflammation. They help soothe your system, improve how your blood flows, and let your nerves relax so you don't feel that constant tension in your legs. And if you've ever had that deep, dull ache in your knees or the burning in your feet after walking too long, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And let's be real, it's not just physical. That pain affects your mindset too. It makes you hesitate. It makes you worry. You start avoiding stairs, skipping your walks, or turning down invitations because your body doesn't feel strong anymore. And that's heartbreaking. But here's what I want to tell you. That's not permanent. That's not your final chapter. You can turn it around. And it starts with what you're putting in your grocery cart. It starts with what's on your plate. You're not powerless here. You've got choices. And every smart choice adds up. Every piece of anti-inflammatory fruit you eat is like giving your body a break, a chance to heal, a chance to rebuild. So don't underestimate those small steps. Choosing berries over a banana, swapping a mango for a handful of raspberries, reaching for avocado instead of a glass of orange juice. These aren't just tiny changes. They're strategic moves. They're acts of self-care, and they stack up one by one into something powerful. Over time, those smart choices turn into real results. Lighter steps, fewer cramps, better sleep, stronger joints, And if you stay consistent, that's how you regain your confidence. That's how you wake up one day and realize, hey, I don't feel that heaviness anymore. My knees don't ache. My balance is better. If you've made it this far in the video, that tells me something important. It tells me you care. You care about your body. You care about your future. You're not the kind of person who throws their hands up and says, oh, well, I'm just getting old. No, you're looking for answers. You're willing to make changes. You're someone who wants to feel good again. And that alone puts you miles ahead because you're not stuck. You're not helpless. You're in motion. And that's everything. Aging doesn't mean giving up. It means adapting. It means listening to your body, understanding its new needs, and meeting them with care. And if certain fruits are holding you back, you don't have to hate them. You just need to replace them, upgrade them, choose smarter, eat for strength, eat for ease, eat in a way that honors where you are now, not where you used to be, because this isn't about going back. It's about moving forward, stronger, steadier, and more alive than ever. Now let's talk about that vision we've been building, the one where your legs feel lighter. The mornings aren't stiff anymore. You wake up ready to take on the day, and instead of holding yourself back, you're moving with confidence. It's achievable, and you've got all the tools you need to get there. But it's not just about what you eat. It's about how you approach your health in a bigger picture. You've learned how certain fruits, like those high in sugar, acids, and inflammation, can contribute to joint pain, stiffness, and fatigue. And we've highlighted the fruits that actively support your health, helping your legs stay strong and pain-free. But here's the key to it all: consistency. Those small adjustments, cutting back on those inflammatory fruits and choosing anti-inflammatory options instead, add up over time. It's not an instant fix, but when you're consistent, your body starts to notice. It'll take a little time for your joints to adapt, for your circulation to improve, and for that deep, nagging pain to finally subside. But remember, this isn't a race, it's a journey, and it's one that's in your hands. You get to decide what goes into your body. You get to choose to nourish yourself. And with every healthy choice you make, your body will thank you in ways that are hard to put into words until you experience it firsthand. As you continue to learn, as you continue to make these changes, you'll begin to see what your body's capable of when it's given the right fuel. You'll feel your legs becoming more agile, your knees less tight, your calves less prone to cramping at night. The aches will fade, the stiffness will lessen, and before you know it, your energy levels will rise. It's all connected. It's all part of a cycle where you feed your body what it needs, and in return, it gives you strength, vitality, and comfort. And don't forget, you're not alone in this. We've all had to make adjustments as we age. We've all faced moments when we thought, this is it. This is the way it's going to be from now on. But here's the good news. No matter where you are in life, there's always room for improvement. You can always make changes that'll improve your quality of life. Whether you're in your 60s, 70s, or beyond, you've got the ability to start fresh. You don't have to settle. You can take control of your health, and you can do it starting with what's on your plate. And I promise you, you won't regret it. Let's wrap this up. We've covered a lot of ground in this video. We've gone over the 7 worst fruits for your legs, and we've discussed the 5 best fruits that can help ease your joint pain and promote better circulation. And more than that, we've gone over a fundamental truth. You hold the power to change your body and your health. It all starts with the choices you make. You don't need to accept leg pain as an inevitable part of aging. You can fight back. You can make every step easier, every movement smoother, and every morning brighter. So as you head to the store this week, remember what you've learned. Remember the fruits that can bring you relief and the ones that might be making things worse. You're making the right decisions for your body's future, and that's something to feel proud of. Keep your head high, keep your goals clear, and most importantly, keep moving forward. Whether it's a simple walk around the block or playing with your grandkids, every step you take is one step closer to feeling the best you've ever felt. And trust me, you're going to get there. It's not too late. You can still reclaim that strength, that freedom, and that vitality. Thanks for tuning in. If you found this information helpful, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more videos just like this. Take care of yourself, and remember, a little change today can lead to big results tomorrow. Stay strong, stay healthy, and I'll see you in the next one.